चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कथामयं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। One who studies Bhagavad Gita, one who hears Bhagavad Gita, nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Nityam bhagavata sevaya. Not on an occasional basis. Nityam. Nityam means on a regular basis, daily basis. Now that we are only meeting once in a week, that too with many breaks. But what it says is that when you read Bhagavatam every single day, hear Bhagavatam every single day, nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu, all the abhadras, inauspicious things, will be removed and one will find peace within oneself. One will be happy. Therefore, Bhagavatam is for everyone who wants to find peace within oneself and wants to be happy in life. That means all of us. It's for all of us. We all want to be peaceful. We want to be finding an eternal happiness in our life. And in fact, the Jivatma, which we are all, are full of knowledge, like how an matter, an object is made of something, the Atma is made of something which is called jnana or knowledge. And that knowledge is not limited, it is unlimited. And it can pervade and spread all over the places. But just because of our karma, it is restricted. Therefore, the Atma within a rock doesn't have the knowledge which can go outside of the rock. It is restricted. The knowledge of a plant is restricted, but better than rock. It has some sensation. The knowledge of an animal, a dog, is much more greater than the knowledge of a plant. A knowledge of a human, certainly better than the knowledge of any of those things that we saw. It doesn't mean that we all get different knowledge. It's the same knowledge. The jnana is there within us. But based on our karmas, that accessibility of that jnana is restricted. It's all within us, but it is restricted based on our karma. The whole idea of studying Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, is to extend that knowledge, to cultivate that knowledge to the higher realm by which we can find peace within us. Right now, we are all knowledgeable. There's no doubt about our knowledge. We are very knowledgeable. But our knowledge is very much limited to only certain aspect. It can go beyond to what we think the knowledge is or happiness is in our life. But we are restricted. That to break that restriction is why we have the sharing of knowledge that we are gathering here, so that we all can utilize what we have in hand through Bhagavatam, studying Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam. We can extend that knowledge which is otherwise very dormant, very much restricted in only limited things. We are in the stage in the Bhagavatam, and the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, with very few chapters left. And we are planning to, by Krishna willing, we'll plan to complete the 10th canto today. Where we left last was, we saw how Abhimanyu got married to Subhadra. And Krishna was helping Abhimanyu to get Subhadra married to him. And Balaram was against to that plan, but then under the desire of Krishna, under the request of Krishna, Balaram also got pacified, and he sent a lot of gifts to Arjuna and Subhadra. He was very happy after that. After the Sukadeva Goswami goes on narrating a very interesting story to Parikshit Maharaj. That story is about two devotees. One devotee who was a king, and another devotee who was a Brahmana. Our king and Brahmana. Brahmana means not a rich person. In fact, it is said this Brahmana is much more in poverty than the Sudama whom we saw. Poor person, very poor. But the king is completely opposite of the poor Brahmana. The king's name was Bahulashva. Bahulashva. And the Brahmana name was Shrutadeva. Shrutadeva. But they were living in the city of Mithila, where the Janaka Maharaj and all those great descendants. So this king was also one of the descendant. So he was living there. But though he was a king, he was very, very much detached from many of the things. And he was very attached to Krishna. He was a great Krishna Bhakta. That he never had any false ego. The king did not have any false ego. He was ruling the king as how Bharata ruled the kingdom in absence of Rama. So he was also ideally in the same mood as doing a service to Krishna as a king. And he was taking care of the citizen. He is very meticulous in following all the dharmas as a king. What about the Brahmana? He is not like king. He was a poor Brahmana, but he was also a great devotee of Krishna. He was very pakka, very perfect as a Brahmana to do all the things that a Brahmana should do. Especially, Brahmanas are meant to study Vedas, not study Vedas in a young age and pack it and keep it on the shelf. Every day, a Brahmana, one of the duty of Brahmana is to read Vedas, recite Vedas every day. He was reciting Vedas, he was doing pujas, he was doing worship, aradhanas, chanting, everything perfectly he was doing. The king and the Brahmana lived in the same city, but they don't know each other. But of course, everyone knows the king, but who will know a poor Brahmana? No one knows a Brahmana. But they both had a great desire to have the vision of the Lord. They want to see the Lord and they want to associate with the Lord. They know the Lord is present in Dwaraka. So understanding the mood of his devotees, Bahulashva and Shrutadeva, Krishna was present in the heart of everyone. He doesn't need to be, we don't need to tell anything to Krishna. He knows everything in and out of us. So he decided to visit Mithila Desha. With his chariot driver, Daruka, he boarded his chariot and he headed to Mithila. The news came ahead to the king that Krishna is going to come to Mithila, and his happiness, his joy was unbound. It cannot be expressed. So he made all great arrangement, not only inside the city, on the ways where Krishna is going to come. All special arrangements and nice decorations, and not only the king, the citizens of the kingdom, everyone were so happy that Krishna is going to come. And the king made so elaborate, rich arrangement where wherever the path that Krishna is going to come through his chariot, he made all the special arrangement and he invited all great pandits, great brahmanas, where they all can come and do a Purna Kumbham. It is a must and tradition that when a great personality comes, you have to invite them with a Purna Kumbham. They have a pot and a coconut and chant Vedic mantras, and then they invite the special person to come in. So he made all the special arrangement with the brahmanas. They all lined up, and with all the brahmanas, there was one brahmana also included in that. That is Shrutadeva. Shrutadeva was also there as one of the brahmana. So he was also there. Krishna arrived. As soon as Krishna arrived, the king as well as the brahmana fell at the feet of Krishna. Everyone fell at the feet of Krishna, by the way. But importantly, because the invitation was from the king fell at the feet of Krishna, and then also the brahmana fell at the feet of Krishna, and Krishna looked at both of them. And now the king told Krishna, please, my lord, come to my kingdom. Come to your kingdom, by the way. The word should be very careful. Come to my kingdom is what we speak. When the great devotees speak, they don't say mine, they say yours. When the great sannyasis come to their house, they won't invite the sannyasi saying, please come to my house. The right way of telling is, come to my kutir. Kutir means a small hut. If at all you want to say it belongs to you, even if you live in a big palace, a mansion, what we have to present is, please come to my hut, my small place. Okay? And when we are going to the place of great people, what we have to tell is, may I come to your mansion? Even if actually it should be opposite, because a great renounced person will not live in a mansion. They will live in a kutir. And people like us will live in a mansion. But when we address it, we have to tell, I would like to come to your abode. Abode means which is bigger. When you invite someone, please come to my hut. That's how the terminology should be when the devotee speaks. Therefore, the king said, please come to my small place. King was saying this, come to my small place. And then Krishna said, of course, I will come. And then as he was ready to move forward and get into the big elephant where the king has made arrangement for Krishna to get in, and then he can make all the parade that Krishna can be taken to the kingdom. And Shrutadeva said, my dear Lord, can you also come to my house? And Krishna was hearing to him, and he said, of course, I will come to your house. But this has to happen at the same time. It's not that Krishna can go and then he said that I'll come after I meet with Krishna, with the king. Because if Krishna gives a preference there, priority to that, then it gives us a wrong signal to the public. If two people are asking, one is a rich man, another one is a poor man, and Krishna said, yes, I will come to both of your place, but then Krishna goes to the king's place first, then it's quite obvious, right? Politically, Krishna is doing something to satisfy the king, and he can address the poor man later. Therefore, there's a problem. And then if Krishna going to go to the Brahmana's house and then come to the king's house later, that means Krishna is giving differentiating that he's a Brahmana, by birth is higher than the Kshatriya. Therefore, he's seeing difference by the birth. There's a problem there. So there's a Dharma Sankat. Where to go, here to or there. But Krishna doesn't have any problem. He can solve all the Dharma Sankat. It's only us, we have a lot of problems. So Krishna promised both of them, I'll come right away. And No one could really realize what was going on. And Krishna got into the special arrangement where the elephant and everything was made. Krishna walked to King Bahulashva. And Krishna also parallelly walked with Shrutadeva. Krishna manifested into two and went in two different directions. No one noticed this whole scene. Only the Brahmana and those who are related to Brahmana, who are also accompanying Brahmana and going to Brahmana's house, they saw Krishna's coming with them. And those who are associated with the king, they all saw that Krishna is only coming with the king to go to the kingdom. It was an amazing scene. Any contradicting, any challenging thing, only Krishna can deal with. If we have been invited on a Saturday evening to go to two different parties, how are we going to at the same time? And we have been invited as a special guest, that too. If you are one among 1,000, doesn't matter. You have to be there as one of the important person. Both are invited. How are we going to do this? It's not possible for us. That is a limitation that we all have, Jivatmas. But Krishna, as being Paramatma, can manifest in many, 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 many ways. When this is again, it's not a surprise for us where Krishna manifesting in just two, because he manifested in many, many other stories that we saw, pastimes, into hundreds and thousands and 10,000s of himself. So that's not a big thing for Krishna. So Krishna went to the king's place, and the king made such an elaborate welcoming and provided hospitality to Krishna. Everything is so expensive, valuable things with rubies, diamonds, gold. The throne that Krishna was sitting was studded with all great stones and with a golden throne. And he was washing, and the king was washing Krishna's feet. And then he was just taking that as a charanamrita. And he gave all chapanbhog, not one or two items. So many different varieties of items for Krishna to enjoy. Krishna was having nice time. Parallelly, the other scene over there. And this man greatly invited, the Brahmana greatly invited Krishna and didn't expect that Krishna is going to accept the invitation, by the way. He didn't expect that. But he was having a strong desire. So Krishna accepted and is walking. Now this Brahmana is also walking. They reach the home. Among all this different small homes, this small home was there. And interestingly, all the great sages came to this Brahmana's house, did not go over there. They all came over here. They are not into opulence, right? So came over here. And now he realized, as he was approaching to the house, close to his house, now he realized, come on, where am I going to make Krishna to sit first? We don't even have a chair. We don't even have a proper place for him to sit. Okay. And I was just thinking, he was thinking about that thing, and he immediately ran ahead and called his wife. Krishna is coming. Krishna is coming. Make something quickly. We have to offer something to Krishna. What? You're telling me now? And then she didn't know what to do. Nothing was there in the house. But Krishna already reached the house, and the Brahmana didn't know what to do. And, if you don't have anything for someone to sit, you offer them a kusha grass, a thin grass. Brahmana's house, this kusha grass will be there by default for pujas and everything. Brahmana means they must have this bundle. So he took the kusha grass and offered it as an asana. And that is why when we do a deity services, when we do deity worship, we have to offer asana first. When you're inviting the deities, and we give the asana first, tell them, please sit in this asana. What is that asana? The kusha grass is there. As a kusha grass, you please offer, sit them, make them sit. So there's a procedure as part of doing deity worship, how to invite the deities in front, how to make them, tell them thank you and let them go back to their seat. All those procedures are there. So this Brahmana did wonderfully all these things and also washed Krishna's feet. And without wasting any of those washed Charanamrita, he started taking shower, bathing himself right in front of Krishna without losing anything. So Krishna was very pleased by this. Now you have to offer something to eat. Over there, Krishna has been offered with chapanbhog. And over here, nothing was left. But whatever they had little bit at the house, they gave And Krishna happily took those small vegetables and fruits and things like that, nuts. So Krishna was happily took those things. And from this we can understand that how Krishna is equal to everyone. He doesn't show any differences. But then during the conversation happened between the king and Krishna, Krishna advised the king about the Rajanidhis. What are the kings, how the kings should perform. He instructed with Rajanidhis. Over here, in the Brahmana, Krishna started explaining and instructing about Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya means about the absolute truth. Brahmana needs to know that, and Kshatriya needs to know that. So accordingly, he gave the instructions. And the Brahmana wants to know more about the Brahma Vidya. And that becomes the chapter 87. That Vidya is the chapter 87. 87. In the 87, this entire chapter glorifies the Lord, and how it glorifies is very detailed out in this chapter. Over here, let's see this one. And the Parikshit Maharaj tells about this particular chapter to Shukadev, Shukadev Goswami tells this chapter to Parikshit Maharaj about the how this whole chapter takes birth from Brahma onwards. And then the Vedas itself glorifies the Lord. Jaya 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 Hi Ajam Arita Dosha Gripita Gunam Tom Asi Yat Atmana Samavartuta Samasta Bhaha Aga Jagat Oksakam Okasam Akila Satya Avabodhakate Kvachit Ajayatmana Cha Charato Anucharan Nigamaha. The Shrutis said, Shrutis means Vedas, victory, victory to you, O unconquerable one. By your very nature, you are perfectly full in all opulences. Therefore, please defeat the eternal power of illusion, who assumes control over the modes of nature to create difficulties for conditioned souls. O you who awaken all the energies of the moving and non-moving embodied beings. Sometimes the Vedas can recognize you as you sport with your material and spiritual potencies. This chapter is very philosophical, and many of these things that what has been said here can be understood from reading Bhagavad Gita. If you've read Bhagavad Gita, if you're listening to Bhagavad Gita, the importance of the glorification of the Lord, especially the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th chapter, focusing on the Purushottama Yoga. So that is about this particular chapter. And moving on to the 88th chapter, Parikshit Maharaj was inquiring more about Krishna. And he asked Sukadeva Goswami, can you please explain to me how is that the devotees of the Lord are always having problems? And how is that the other devatas, a worshipper of other devatas, seem to be very happy in life? What's going on here? It looks like something that I don't get it. Why is that so? And then Sukadeva Goswami narrates this story of Vrikasura. Vrikasura was one of the demon. So he did a great austerity towards Lord Shiva. So he wanted to find out which god is that which get satisfied very quickly, so that you can take whatever boon that you want from that particular god. And he came to know that Lord Shiva is the one who can be easily satisfied. Therefore, he does a great penance. The way he does his austerity is to satisfy Lord Shiva, is to start cutting off the flesh, the body part of his, and offer it into the fire. Can you just imagine? He cuts off his flesh from his body and offer that into the fire. That's what he was doing. He was doing this with great faith, but Lord Shiva was not coming, not coming. Then he decided, it doesn't mean that he lost his faith. The demons have more faith than actually speaking. This is the truth. The demons, Rakshasas, Asuras, they have more faith than common people. Otherwise, how dare they can cut the part of their body and offer it to the Ravana was cutting off every head. every 1,000 years, he offers one head. When it was time to offer his last head, that is when the Lord came, Brahma came, Lord Shiva, Brahma came and offered him the boon that he wanted. Likewise, this Vrikasura was thinking, maybe what I'm doing is not enough for Lord Shiva. Now let me myself jump into the fire, offer my head into the fire. When he was ready to chop off his head, Shiva arrived on the spot. He said, enough, 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 enough. I'm satisfied with your austerity. Tell me what is the boon you want. And this Vrikasura is quite interesting character. Usually all the demons were asking, I don't want to die. I want to live for long, things like that. But he was quite interesting. He said, whomever I touch, whomever head I touch, they have to die, become ash. They have to die. And Lord Shiva, without even thinking for a moment, he said, Tathastu, I grant you this boon. Right? Vrikasura was thinking now, oh, now I have to do my testing of this boon that I got. So he was thinking, who is around next to me where I can test this boon? He only saw Lord Shiva in front of him. So he went in front of the Shiva. He went in front of Shiva, and Shiva saying, "What are you doing? Why are you coming close to me? So close to me." Well, I want to make sure this boon works. So what are you going to do? I'm going to touch your head, Lord Shiva. What? So Shiva started running. Lord Shiva started running, and Vrikasura was chasing him. He went all over different places, but this guy was not letting him. He was very determined to touch the head of Lord Shiva. Finally, Lord Shiva, he couldn't do bad to take help from. He went to Lord Vishnu. And then he said, what's the problem? Well, as usual, I made a mistake of giving, without thinking, I gave a boon to this Vikasura, and it's coming back to me, biting me back now. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. The Lord took a form of a young, small Brahmana boy, and he came in front of this Vrikasura. And he said, what's the problem? Why are you running like a madman? Well, I got the boon. I got the boon. What boon did you get? Anyone's head I touched, they go into ash. Then I want to try this on Lord Shiva, who gave me the boon. Oh, that's a good idea. You are a very grateful person. You are nice. You have a very good plan. So, but do you know, this is how Lord Shiva is. Lord Shiva gives left and right boons to everyone. But many times it's a problem. You need to make sure that boons are working first. Did he even self-test? Did he even self-test one? Do this one? What do you mean self-test? Do you know if this is working or not? Did you ever touch your head and checked whether it's working or not? I doubt it's working. It's all just, I washed you. He just cheated you. Lord Shiva cheated you. Actually, none of his boons really works. What are you telling? Yes. I know this Shiva for a long time. So, of course, Lord Shiva's mercy is great. His boons works for sure. But Krishna have to, tackle this guy. Therefore, he said, Lord Shiva is always like this. You should test yourself first. I'm sure nothing will happen. Really? That's all bogus? Yes, it is bogus. Oh my God, he cheated me. Vrikasura got into ashes. He went into ash. Finished. Very smartly, Lord finished him. Therefore, the point that to be understood is, being Krishna's devotee, it is going to be, Krishna has his own way of dealing his devotees. Right? So when we are under the shelter of Krishna, Krishna takes over our life. Therefore, the problems and challenges and difficulties, all that we are facing in our life, is simply to strengthen our bhakti towards Krishna. Any family situation, any physical situation that we are all having, it is simply that Krishna is making us stronger to be completely dependent on him alone, not on any other factors, not on our family, not our money, not our education, not our employment, none of those things. Be completely dependent on me. I'm the only one who can take care of you. And how we understood this is through the Gajendra Moksha. No one came in front to help Gajendra. We read the story. No one came. The only one finally he understood can save him is Krishna. So Krishna gives us that opportunity in our life several times to become dependent on him many times. So whenever we have problems in our life, whenever we go through some challenges, we should understand Krishna is giving his mercy to us, making us feel to come to a point that we are totally dependent on him. That's how we should understand this thing. Moving on to the 89th chapter. Quite an interesting chapter. One time, Arjuna visited Dwaraka. And then he was spending nice time in Dwaraka with Krishna. That time, in the middle of the night, he was hearing someone was screaming and crying and making a big noise. Is there anyone in this kingdom? No one is hearing my voice. No one is seeing my problem. Look at my child. I lost my 9th child. I come every year. I don't know what's happening. I have done all my duties as a Brahmana very correctly, perfectly. But there is something which is not happening by the king. Because of the mistakes and faults of the king, the citizens are suffering. I lost all my 9 children. Every year, I get a son and I lose my son. Something is not right with the kingdom. The king is making some mistakes. So as he was crying and screaming like this, Arjuna heard this one for the first time. And he comes out and he saw that the Brahmana was right there. And he asked, what's the problem? Why are you crying like this? Well, at least for the first time, someone is coming and asking me that such things. In so many years, no one asked my problems. Thank you. Arjuna, this is what is happening. My wife delivers a child and the child dies. What? Yes, this happens. This is the 9th time it happens. Really? Yes. Can you please do something? And Arjuna promises that for your next child, I will protect your child from whatever the thing is happening. I will protect it. You go now. And as usual, the year came and the message came to Arjuna. Arjuna went to the Brahmana's house and with his power, archery power, he completely closed the entire area with his arrows. So no one can come from outside. He protected the whole area with his arrows. And the Brahmana was very happy. And the baby was also delivered. But not for long, the baby passed away. And the message came to Arjuna, and Arjuna was really shocked. How is even that possible? When I covered everything, no one can enter into your house. How is that the child can be carried away? How is it possible? So therefore, Arjuna traveled to different planetary systems. All the talas, all the above lokas, he traveled all different places, but he couldn't find the child. So as he has promised the Brahmana that if I couldn't find your child, I will enter into the fire and kill myself. Therefore, as he couldn't keep up his promise, now he made an arrangement where he can enter into the fire. As he was ready to step into the fire, Krishna came to the spot. On the spot. He said, what's happening here? What are you doing here? That was during summertime. Why are you having this fire burn like this? It's so hot. I said, Krishna, good you came here. Took your darshan. Now I'm entering into the fire. I'm going to end my life. And Krishna said, what? Why are you doing this one? Because I couldn't keep up my promise. What promise did you make? Well, I told this Brahmana that I'll find a son. This is what is happening every year. Every year? Yeah, every year it's been happening. I see. Okay. The promise is to get the Brahmana son? Yes. And Krishna said, don't worry. We will get the Brahmana son. You don't need to enter and die yourself. And Krishna called his chariot, and he got into the chariot, and he asked Arjuna to also join. And the Brahmana was watching what's going on here. And Krishna said, you also jump in. And Brahmana also got into the chariot. They all traveled. But Arjuna was telling, Krishna, I went to all different places. I don't know where you're going to take me now. I went to all Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Ratasa, Rasatala, Patala, also above all the lokas. I couldn't find the boy. Just come. Just do some sightseeing and keep coming. And then as Krishna passed through all the different lokas, interestingly, he passed through the layers of the universe, all the Panchabhutas. And then after passing the Panchabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether, all those things passed. Then he passed through the three subtle elements, passing through the Ahankara, passing through the Mahan, passing through the Mula Prakriti, Pradhana, Mula Prakriti, which is the end of it. And then after that, he passed through that also and entered into a place which was dark, completely dark. So the horses couldn't find its ways. They are going in the chariot. The horse couldn't see because it's all dark. So Krishna released his chakra, Sudarshan chakra. The Sudarshan chakra went in front of the horse, the entire light. It was so bright, like thousands and thousands of light put together. Arjuna couldn't see anything. The Brahmana, forget it. He couldn't see anything. They just closed their eyes. Even if you close your eyes, the lights are so penetrating into your eye, into the hands, and into the eyes. It was so bright. They couldn't see anything. But finally, Krishna landed a spot where it was a spiritual world. The Lord was there. Mahavishnu was right there. And then Mahalakshmi was there. And when Krishna saw, the Lord immediately became very happy. He was lying down. And Lakshmi was so happy. And said, Krishna spoke to the Vishnu form. And then Krishna said, the Lord asked him, oh Krishna, you're here? What brings you here? Well, one of the child in Dwaraka got lost. If the child gets lost, we go to the police station and we complain, we put it in the media, and we do so many other things, right? When a child got lost, we don't go to the higher planetary system and start searching for this child. One child or two. One of the child of a Brahmana, this Brahmana, got lost. We just want to make sure that that boy is here or not. And Mahavishnu smiled at Krishna. There is Vishnu and Krishna, no difference. It's all expansion. So he looked around. Yeah, the boy is right here. They saw that the boys were playing over there. Mahalakshmi was also there. And not only one boy, the 10th boy, all other 9 boys was also there. And Krishna said, can you please give these boys back to this Brahmana? I have to take them back home. This Brahmana is very much wanting this child. No problem. We just wanted to see you in this form. That is why we did this one. Lakshmi and Vishnu became very happy seeing darshan of Krishna and gave the child back. And with the child back, all the 10 loaded into the chariot, Arjuna and the Brahmana, and they returned back with a wind speed, came back to Dwaraka. And as they came back to Dwaraka, Krishna gave the sons back to the Brahmana, went to his house and gave the sons back to the Brahmana. The Brahmana became very happy. Interesting point to note here in the story is, you went all the way there, right? And the Brahmana had an all opportunity to settle down there in the spiritual sky world. But then, due to his strong attachment, he returned back to the material world with his sons. Right? That's something quite interesting to note here. Krishna gives what we want. That's a point. If you want money, Krishna gives. If you want fame, Krishna gives. If you want any other material things, Krishna gives. And one thing that Krishna reserves to himself is bhakti. That has to be begged. We have to beg for bhakti. Unless and until we really beg for bhakti, he is not going to give us. With that said, 89th chapter gets over. And the very last chapter, the 90th chapter, is all about how Krishna was in Dwaraka, how he was spending his time with his queens and children, and the children that he got from each of his wives. All the descriptions are there in the 90th chapter, the summary of Lord Krishna's glories. And interestingly, Krishna's family is so big, right? They have to have their own school. The children cannot go to a public school, unfortunately, because the city, majority of the children are Krishna's children. Do you know how many teachers were appointed for Krishna's children? It's amazing, this number. This is what? 38. I don't even know how to say this in an English states unit. 38, I think 38,800,000. 38,800,000 teachers were appointed to teach Krishna's children. That many were there. And then from that, Krishna's, the principal queen Rukmini had a son, Pradyumna, who was considered to be very non-different from Krishna himself. And Pradyumna had another son, Abhimanyu, and the lineage of them continued further into that. That has been glorified throughout this chapter, in the 90th chapter. And finally, it is said, the Falastuti says that by hearing, chanting, and meditating on the beautiful topics of Lord Mukunda with ever increasing sincerity, a mortal being will attain the divine kingdom of the Lord, where the inviolable power of death holds no sway. For this purpose, many persons, including great kings, abandoned their mundane homes and took to the forest. This is how everyone came to hear Bhagavatam. When Parikshit Maharaj was hearing Bhagavatam, that has been said. That is, hearing Bhagavatam, especially the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, hearing or studying any of those things that we do of Bhagavatam guarantees one to return back to Krishna. Where we return, we doesn't need to come back into this material world. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Radha Rani ki jai. With that, we have completed 10th canto. And we have 2 more cantos to conclude Srimad Bhagavatam. With that, any questions, comments, thoughts?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So, like, no one can get entrance into like Vaikuntha Loka, but like the Brahmana, got the entrance. Like, how come the Brahmana got entrance in the Vaikuntha Loka?
One time, Yashoda was chasing Krishna. She was told that Krishna is doing naughty things. So Yashoda decided that she wants to punish Krishna. Therefore, she was trying to chase Krishna, and Krishna was running. And Krishna found Dadi Panda, one who makes the yogurt. So he saw this man, and he came to that man, and Krishna told, my mother is chasing me. Could you please help me? I want to hide somewhere. And this man said, no problem. He had the pot, clay pot, to keep the yogurt. He had an empty pot. He said, enter into this empty pot. I'll close you. You go inside. And then Krishna got inside, and the Dipanda, he closed this pot. And then Mother Yashoda came to the spot, and he saw this man. the curd maker. He asked, "Did you see my boy here? Did you see my Kana here? Did he come here?" He said, "No, I did not see him. He never came here. Decide he never comes. He never came here." He lied, by the way. He lied. That's not Satyam, but Asatyam. He said Asatyam. See what's going to he get at the end. And then Yashoda, believed is saying the truth. And then he ran into a different direction. He told that maybe he went that side. So she ran opposite direction. And then now, Dadi Panda went away. He left the pot as it is. He went away, started doing something else. But from inside the pot, Krishna is telling, "Arey, lift the pot, lift the, I have to come out, lift the pot. My mother is gone. Can you please lift the pot?" Krishna can lift a mountain. Can you believe this? Krishna can lift a mountain, but he's begging to this man to lift the pot, as if he cannot lift the pot. Right? So the pot man said, "Sorry, I can't do that." "What? No, I can't do that. I cannot release you from this pot. I cannot release you. I can give you whatever you want. Could you please lift the pot? I'll give you anything that you want. Please lift the pot." And the man said, "Can you give me moksha?" Can you imagine? He asked for lifting the pot. He wants to attain moksha. He did not perform karma yoga. He did not perform jnana yoga. He did not perform bhakti yoga. He did not perform sharanagati either, by the way. All he did was close Krishna in the pot. Now he's asking to lift the pot. And he said, if you give me moksha, I can release you from this pot. For Krishna to be released from the pot, he wants to be released from the material world. Krishna can release him from the material world, but Krishna himself cannot release him from the pot. What a big joke, right? So the Krishna said, yeah, please release me first. And then the man happily lifted the pot. And Krishna liberated him on the spot. That is not a big deal now. But what Krishna was so grateful that he not only gave liberation to the man, he also gave liberation to the pot. This is something you can never hear. He gave a liberation to the pot because pot helped him, saved him from his mother's beatings. Therefore, Krishna also liberated the pot. So it is said by acharyas that one day, Priya Mataji, when you go to Vaikunta, the day is not, after this life, this body, you're going to go to Vaikunta for sure. When you go there, you will see that pot is hanging in Vaikunta. How can a material element, right? To enter into the Vaikunta, you cannot go with this physical body, by the way. That is a rule. We have to leave this material body because this body is made of matter, 5 matters. It has to be given up. Only Atma can go to the spiritual world. Then how come the pot, which is made of earth, water, air, fire, ether, can enter into the spiritual world? That means it is contradicting. But Krishna can do whatever he wants to do. Ultimately, he is the one who gives permission, who can enter, who cannot enter. So we take that example, apply over here in Brahmana's case.
That makes sense, Prabhuji. Thank you for explaining that. Hare Krishna, and thank you for your wonderful lecture as usual. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Anyone else have anything to say?
Prabhu.
Srinivas, yes.
I don't know, I hear wrong or something, I don't know. You said Abhimanyu was Pradyumna's son?
Yeah, Abhimanyu is, multiple Abhimanyus are there.
Oh, okay.
So this Abhimanyu, sorry, excuse me, it's not Abhimanyu, Aniruddha. I'm very sorry.
Okay.
If I said Abhimanyu, that is wrong. It is Aniruddha.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. And also, Bhakta Tukaram went with his own body, right, to the board, to Vaikunta?
Yeah, that's what we hear from his story.
Correct, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anyone else? If there is nothing, Diksha, you're there? Or is that your parents? Okay. If no questions, nothing, I think Ashok Prabhu has some announcement, something to convey here to this group. I'll hand it over to him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
All right. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. First of all, thank you so much for taking us through this whole journey of teaching Bhagavatam in a style which was meant for children, and we are like adult children, so we really learned a whole lot. Because if we go sloka by sloka, it takes years to read and all. So I think this was very nice of you to really hold these. So the next thing is that tomorrow at the temple we are celebrating Gordhan Puja. So please, all whoever is in town, please come and celebrate with us. And the third thing is about going forward with this program, this Saturday class. We will take a little break. We still have 2 cantos to finish. So because Lal Prabhuji is traveling and I'm probably also traveling. So we won't have time really, at least for 3-4 weeks, and holidays coming, we thought we'll take a short break until January, and then we'll start back from January 1st or within that week, and then there's also a talk going on whether we should have a physical like on site in person